Welcome to this clip on the difference between aid schemes and individual aid. State aid takes the form of either an aid scheme or individual state aid. Since these two concepts lead to different procedural consequences, it is important to discuss what exactly falls under their scope. After watching this video, you should be able to explain the concepts of an aid scheme and an individual aid measure. According to Article 1D of Procedural Regulation 2015-1589, an aid scheme is defined as any act on the basis of which, without further implementing measures being required, individual aid awards may be made to undertakings defined within the Act in a general and abstract manner, and any act on the basis of which aid, which is not linked to a specific project, may be awarded to one or several undertakings for an indefinite period of time and/or for an indefinite amount. An example of an aid scheme is a state aid measure providing wage subsidies for companies that hire people with disabilities and meet the criteria set out in the scheme. The European Court of Justice, in the Belgium and Magnetrol International versus Commission case, formulated three cumulative criteria to determine whether a state measure constitutes an aid scheme. These criteria require that aid may be granted individually to undertakings on the basis of the measure, that no further implementing measures are required for the aid to be granted, and that the undertakings to which individual aid may be granted must be defined in a general and abstract manner. Article 1E of Procedural Regulation 2015-1589 defines individual state aid as aid that is not awarded on the basis of an aid scheme and notifiable awards of aid on the basis of an aid scheme. In other words, determining whether a measure constitutes individual state aid requires a negative analysis. If the aid is not an aid scheme, it constitutes individual aid. A clear example of individual state aid is a one-off grant of €1 million to rescue a specific company. In summary, an aid scheme is a measure allowing individual aid to be granted to undertakings based on general, abstract criteria without needing further implementation measures, while individual state aid refers to specific aid not based on such schemes. This entails procedural consequences, as for example the European Commission can only initiate procedures regarding existing state aid with respect to aid schemes, but not with respect to individual state aid. This brings us to the end of the clip on the differences between aid schemes and individual aid. Thank you for your interest and attention.